Hey guys, it's Dan here with a new video, and today we're going to be talking about some things I made over the past year. Alright, let's get into the video. So one thing to note is I hadn't been making videos in a while, and that's because I went through a whole lot of stuff over the year, and it just really it wasn't a good year for me. So all that aside, one of the things I made, I went to the Comic-Con that was in Kansas City, Planet Comic-Con, and it's a couple of things, and one of them was a Spider-Man that I designed, and I got photos of it. I don't really feel well enough to put it on stuff, but here's some photos. And while we're looking at those photos, I'll explain that this is based off of different spiders I liked. So I liked some things with Spider-Gwen. I liked some things with the Miles Morales with his shorts, and I liked just making my own mask. So I made my own mask. I'm gonna go into a little bit of that, show a little bit of me making the mask, and go into how I did all that. And something else that we had to deal with in the past year, and we're still dealing with, and the reason why I am not doing anything this New Year's is because people have to deal with COVID. So I thought this was going to be done. I didn't really want to make a video on it, but apparently I'm going to have to. I made a really easy to use COVID mask for Loki variants, Thor variants. So I actually dress up as Thor a lot. You guys know that. And this slides over, tightens up just like this, and it fits on your face a little bit higher up than what the actual one does in the Avengers movie because we're trying to cover our nose in this. So I made it a little bit bigger in scale. And as you can see, it just tightens with the string on the back. Really simple and easy. And all this is easy to get working. I'll show you a couple of things on that. I made this for my Thor costume at Planet Comic-Con also as well. So I'll show you a couple of pictures of that because I'm not feeling like putting on my Thor at all for all this. We'll get into all that and just show you some simple videos or pictures. I think I have some videos and pictures from both of these projects, and that's going to just help us bring in the new year. Print just ended 3 seconds ago. No support on the inside. You can see that there's some stuff you have to deal with if you want to do this, but I'll take this off and show you that if you don't do supports and you're okay with it, then you're going to save a lot of time in plastic. So if we have no supports, we are going to have an alright finish on the outside, as long as we have the right amount of layers and perimeters and all that stuff. Something you're going to have to deal with, though, is cleaning up something like that. It's nothing to worry about if you are able to fix it, because if you've ever taken supports up before, you know there's lots of stuff like this that you have to remove anyways. So if we're going to not have supports, it's going to save a lot of plastic and a lot of time. And we had one issue with the print, and this came off but fixed itself. So that's nothing I can't fix, but that's not indicative of supports. That was because it got knocked off by the nozzle while it was printing. So I'm using my soldering iron to melt some stuff, and this doesn't fit perfectly. It's actually a little small, and if you look back here, it sort of droops down after the curve, so I drew a new line right here. This line I'm going to straighten out a little bit with a ruler, and then I'm going to cut it right there, and that should take away that back swoop, so that way it goes straight on my head instead of being locked in, because my chin, it goes in first and then it slides back, and it's sort of just not going back. So I'm going to see if that fixes it first. Okay, so I used the cutoff wheel on my Dremel, and then I just sanded it down a little bit. Other than seeing a little bit of infill holes, you can't really tell. So that's good. It's a nice straight line. So I'll keep on tweaking this and trying to make it fit. And when I'm done, then I'm going to do stuff with the eyes and make it all smooth and stuff, so that way the cloth doesn't get snagged. So to get these lenses attached to these things, I just used a soldering iron that I had. It's one of those ones you can control the temperature with a little trigger. And I was able to just heat up the tabs and melt them down and just make it so the plastic sticks to itself. You don't want it to be super hot, or else it's just going to melt and flop everywhere. You want it to be something you can control the temperature of. So make sure it's something you have very good control over the temperature. In case I didn't explain anything in my videos, this was supposed to be a black mask, so it would capture more of the light and make it harder for you to see details in it. So that way it would be a little bit more mysterious. And that's sort of the idea I had going back to when I was making this. As you can see, I didn't do amazingly well with lining my seams up, but since it's all black cloth and stretches pretty well over the face shell, you can't really tell anyways. So that was my idea behind it. The file for the cloth and the file for the shell didn't come from the same source, so that's why they don't line up exactly either. So if they were made for the exact same thing, then they would probably line up better. But this was just like a random face shell and a random cloth file that I found. If my clips don't explain it enough, this is all foam fabrication. I will leave a template that I made down in the description below. And it is 95% done. You're going to have to look at the details I have of this to see if I changed anything on it. I hope that is good enough for you. Other than that, I think you can extrapolate how it's made from using the template. Because there's some lines that just end abruptly because I made it for myself. I didn't think anyone else was going to be using it. Yeah, and I don't really feel like making it better. Alright, so let this start of 2022 show that I can actually make things still on video instead of just making things and forgetting to put them on video because years are rough. Alright, so we got Spider-Man, we got Thor, Loki. I'll see you guys in the next video and have a happy 2022.